Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to yet another video. Today I'm doing my final League 2 table prediction. Now, I've been doing my final predictions for all of the top 5 divisions across England, and today we're doing League 2, which I think is absolutely bonkers. I think this is probably the hardest division to call because the relegation battle, the playoff battle, and the battle for automatics is all so tight that you'd be a madman to predict it, but today we're going to attempt it. If you want to get your predictions down below in the comments, then feel free to do so. Please make sure to drop a like and hit that red subscribe button down below. It is completely free to support the channel, so like and subscribe. Let's get into this video, starting at the bottom and working our way up. So then, starting with the relegation picture, I've got Scunthorpe United bottom of the table. Now this won't surprise too many people. Scunthorpe have picked up one win in 2022 and we're nearly in April, which is just horrific. I do feel for those Scunthorpe fans, but the writing is on the wall. They're 10 points adrift and they've got 7 games to go, so they probably need 6 wins out of 7, which is automatic form. They're not going to do it. I'm really sorry, Scunthorpe. It's been a disastrous season, but the writing is on the wall. You're heading to the National League. Joining them, this is where it gets tricky. I've gone for Stevenage. Now, between Stevenage and Oldham, this is very, very tight. And they do actually play each other on the first game back on Saturday. This is very tricky to predict, but I'm going for Stevenage to go down. They have drew 7 blanks in their last 11 games. That means they've failed to score in 7 of their last 11 fixtures, which is quite a worrying stat when you're not scoring the goals. They've got the second worst goal difference in the league. If it comes down to that, that could be a cause for concern. And like I say, this game against Oldham this weekend is massive. I just think Stevenage are going to fall short. I'm backing Oldham Athletic to stay up in 22nd place. They're going to scrape survival. I do think it hinges on this Stevenage-Oldham game. If it's a draw, it probably carries on as it is. If Oldham win, they might have the momentum to pop out. But if Stevenage win, they could open up a 6-point gap and it could be goodbye to Oldham. But I'm backing Oldham to get out of it. They've had 6 straight defeats at the time of recording this. But before that, they were unbeaten in 7. So there is some sort of encouraging signs in there for Oldham, despite them being on a bad run. They can't just lose every game until the end of the season. Otherwise, they will go down. I think they will just scrape enough points to survive. Just above them, I've gone for Barrow. Now, Barrow aren't out of this. Although we're looking at Oldham and Stevenage, Barrow are only 6 points clear. They're the second lowest scorers in the league, so there's some real causes for concern there. And if Oldham do beat Stevenage, then they'll be only 3 points clear of the drop. So Barrow just needs to churn out a few more points, but I do think they'll survive. And just above them, I'm going for Rochdale, who are winless in 7 games, but they are 9 points clear at the time of recording this. So you think with games running out, Rochdale should just be able to get over the line. That is my bottom 5 for League 2. As we move up the table, I'm going to go for Colchester United, who are climbing away from it with 3 wins in their last 5. They've got Freddie Sears, who's on 12 goals, which is very encouraging. I think Colchester have got enough to be pretty clear of this, and yeah, it looks like Colchester are heading for another League 2 season. Let's just hope next season's better than this season, where yeah, they look like they're mingling in with the bottom 6 or 7 down there. Just above them, I'm going for Harrogate, who've got 1 win in their last 8, and that was against bottom of the table Scunthorpe, although it was a convincing win. I've got some reservations about Harrogate this season. They've conceded the 2nd most goals in the league, but I think they are clear of the bottom 2 mess, so Harrogate are heading for another League 2 season. When you consider they were a National League team a couple of seasons ago, it's still a positive for Harrogate. Just above Harrogate, I'm going for Walsall, who've scored in 9 of their last 10 games, so that's quite an encouraging stat. They've only drawn 1 blank in their last 10 games. I've also got that they're competitive, and they're just shy of mid-table. So if they can end this season with a little bit of a scuttle forwards, a couple wins together, they could climb up to mid-table, and they are competitive on their day. They're actually quite a decent team, Walsall. Just above them, I've got Bradford City, who you could argue are one of the big clubs in this division, but they're not performing like it, are they? They obviously played in the Premier League in the early 2000s, and it's real weird to see them in the 4th division, especially with the crowds they get at Valley Parade. But it is actually at home where they're having their problems. I believe they've won 1 in 2022 at home, and that was in mid-January, and I think that's their only home win in the last 4.5 months, which is real baffling for Bradford City. I think on the road they're obviously okay, which is why they're not quite in that bottom 2 mess, but yeah, real cause for concern, that home form, Bradford City. Let's hope for their sake they can turn that around in the final few games and go into next season on a more positive light. Just above Bradford City, I'm going for Carlisle United, who are steaming up the table. 6 wins in their last 7. They were 23rd in late February. That's about 5 or 6 weeks ago. They've done incredible. Honestly, the manager there is performing miracles, and I'm going for Carlisle United to keep scuttling up the table. I wouldn't rule them out of getting into this mid-table section, because Carlisle United are doing amazing, and they're now 15 points clear of the bottom 2. Just above them, I'm going for Crawley Town, who do look set for mid-table. Not going to go up, not going to go down, so it looks like another season in League 2 for Crawley Town. They're quite competitive as well. They've scored in 7 of their last 8 games, but they're just inconsistent, Crawley, pulling out a decent result and then sometimes don't follow it up with another one. So Crawley Town I've got for mid-table, which is an okay season for them. And then just above them, I'm going for Leyton Orient, a club I've got so much respect for. I'm glad to see them back in the Football League. They're really on the move. 6 games unbeaten, so they're charging towards that top half. They're actually 5 points outside the top 12 with a game in hand, so it's not impossible Leyton Orient could finish this season in the top 12. This is where it gets really, really tricky. As we jump into the top half, I'm going to go for Hartlepool United. I do back them to finish in the top half. They've had a great first season back. They are the second lowest scorers above the bottom 6, so goals a little bit of a concern, but still pretty rigid defence, grinding out some brilliant results. And when you consider they've just come up through the playoffs of the National League, to be in the top half, this would be incredible for Hartlepool United. I really, really like them, and yeah, glad to see them back in the Football League. Jeff Stelling's team. Just above them, we've got Sutton United, the other newly promoted team, who have done brilliant this season. They're 2 points off the playoffs, which is incredible when you consider they were the National League last year. Imagine if they could get into League 1, what an achievement that would be. They've done an incredible job. I just worry they're not being consistent enough to keep up the pace with these other top 7. Look, it's only 8 games or so to go. If Sutton could just put a good run together, they could get in there. But there's a lot of traffic, and I wonder if Sutton United could just fall short. You let me know down below. In my top 10, I've gone for Mansfield Town. Now, this is a really, really tricky one. You can look at Mansfield in 2 ways. They're actually outside the top 7, but they have got some games in hand, so they are one of the favourites to possibly finish in there. They were 18th in late November, so the job they've done over the last 4 months or so is incredible. Mansfield are really on the march, and there's so many teams that have just shot up out of nowhere to be in this mix. It's making it exciting for the neutrals. They've been brilliant, but I've noticed they've got quite a hard run in. If they can pick up some really big results, then they could break in there. I'm going to go for Mansfield to be in the top 10, but I don't think they'll make the top 7. Just above them, I'm going for Salford City, who are unbeaten in 9 league games, which is incredible. Salford are really on the march. There's so many teams charging towards the playoffs. I wonder if Salford have left it too late. Maybe not. They could get in there. They've got a game tonight at the time of recording this, so let's see if they can pick up some more points. They're doing an incredible job. They have got some massive games left. It's those games against the teams around you in the table which are key. If they can win some of them, then Salford could get in there. The conclusion I've drawn for Salford City is if they don't get the top 7 this season, I actually think they might get promoted next season. I think Salford are growing as a club each year, more fans on board, they've obviously got good investment there, better players each season it seems, and Salford do look like a club that could be heading to League 1 soon. So if it's not this season, I have a feeling it could be next season for Salford City. And then in 8th place, I've gone for Tranmere Rovers, a club that I've got so much respect for, and I think they really could do it this year, but they've only won 2 in their last 9, so not quite keeping the pace at the moment. It will come down to what they do in the next few games that decide it. At the time of recording this, they're actually in the top 7, but they have played more games, so it's almost not in their hands at the same time. It's really, really tricky for Tranmere Rovers. They've got no player that's on 7 goals or more. Their top scorer's on 6 goals, which is obviously a positive when you think they've spread the goals out amongst the team. But there isn't that one striker to depend on, which, I don't know, that can be a negative. So I'm going for Tranmere just to fall short, but it would be great to see them back in League 1. In my top 7, I'm going for Swindon Town. Now, there is so much traffic, so to just finish in 7th would be a great achievement for any club, and brilliant for Swindon, who've had so many issues. I remember at the start of the season, everyone was like, Swindon are going to do rubbish because of all the off-the-field issues, but Swindon are looking like they could do it. They've got a game in hand on Tranmere, but there's a couple of clubs that have got a game in hand on them, so they just really need to focus on their games, and I think Swindon will do it. They're the 2nd top scorers in the league, and they've won 6 of their last 9 games. So that is playoff form. I think Swindon will sneak in there, and look who they'd get in the playoffs. That would be mental. We'll come to them in a minute. In 6th place, I'm going for Newport County, who've lost 1 of their last 9. They do look destined to do it, and Newport are a team that are in there pretty much every season. They just fell short last season, but it's a matter of time before Newport County do get to League One, I think. It could be this season, might not, might be next season. You never know with Newport. Dominic Telford's on 24 goals, which is incredible, and they've got some really big games coming, so I've got a feeling Newport will be in the mix. Now in 5th place, this might be the biggest surprise of the lot. I've gone for Exeter to drop a couple of places. Remember guys, this is so tight, and if everyone else is performing brilliantly, it doesn't take a lot for some teams to slip. I think Exeter, would be typical of them to not make the automatics, because Exeter have been in League 2 for a long time now, and for so many years they've been knocking on the door, finishing in the playoffs, losing in the playoff final. And it could be a similar story this season. Maybe they'll break their duck and get promoted through the playoffs, or maybe they will get the automatics. But I've got it for 5th place for Exeter. They've got to go away to Newport, in-form Carlisle, Tranmere and Northampton. And then on the final day they play Port Vale. So I don't know, it's a real tough run-in for Exeter. If they can win some of those big games, then they really could do it. They've got 8 games. I wonder if 4 wins would be enough for Exeter. Now in 4th place we've got Bristol Rovers, a club I've got a real soft spot for. I really like Bristol Rovers. I think they've been on a real journey, and you know what, this season's been mental. At the start of the season I predicted them to be in that top 7, and they were actually having quite a poor season for the majority of it, and even then I did a video saying I think Bristol Rovers will still make it, and they've done incredible. Joey Barton has galvanised that team. They were 14th 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago, and I'm going for them to finish 4th. That is incredible. I wouldn't even rule them out of the top 3. They did lose at the weekend, but that was against in-form Carlisle. But Bristol Rovers are a team to really keep your eye on. And if they do finish in the playoffs, their crowd can really make the difference. They've got a fantastic home support, good on the road. And do you know what? If they go to Wembley, that would be brilliant as well. And look at that, they'll be playing Swindon Town in the playoffs. This has got sort of a western, southwest sort of feel to this playoffs. This would be quite the mix, wouldn't it? So Bristol Rovers, I am backing them. They're a big club. I think 3 wins in their last 7 would probably secure the top 7. I've got them to win 4 or 5 just to finish at the top end of the playoffs. But like I say, don't rule them out of the automatics. In 3rd place, I'm going for Port Vale. They've only lost 1 in the last 2 months, which is an incredible achievement when you consider how thick and fast these games come at you in League 2. Really, really good stuff. They've got some favourable fixtures, so if they can win them going into that Exeter game on the final day, I have a feeling they're going to sneak in there. Port Vale have been doing brilliant. They're a club that I associate with at least being in League 1, and yeah, I have a feeling they're going to bounce back this year. Port Vale to finish in the automatics. In 2nd place, I'm going for Northampton Town. They've got the 2nd best defence in the league, which is something to really pride yourself on. They've been doing brilliant. They've got a nice run in. They've still got to play Exeter at home. That's the penultimate game. But there's something about Northampton. I actually watched them when they came to Coventry earlier on in the season. I know it was a League Cup game, but I thought they were really, really impressive. I think the manager's got them really well structured, and Northampton are heading in the right direction. I think I'd be surprised if they don't make the automatics. Northampton in 2nd place. Top of the league, no surprise, is Forest Green Rovers. They're the top scorers, they've got the best defence, they've therefore got the best goal difference, they're back to winning ways after a run of 7 games without a win, and they've got Matt Stevens who's on 23 goals. Forest Green are definitely heading in the right direction. They're another club that I've been looking at over the last few years thinking it's about time they're going to get promoted, and wow, they're doing it in style. The fact they went 7 without a win and they were still top by a country mile goes to show how brilliant they were over that first 2/3 of the season. And they've just got a run in to go now where if they could just pick up, I don't know, a point per game would probably still be enough for Forest Green. They're heading in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. Forest Green to win the league. That wraps up today's video, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. Get your predictions down below. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Hit that red button, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.